Word is Diddy collapsed when the judge allegedly gave him a life sentence connected to Kim Porter's death, and honestly, it's not shocking. Even people from his own inner circle, like his former bodyguard, have been raising questions about Kim's death since the—
And this is hearsay, that the detectives did not even view the body in the bed where she died at. Her casket was ordered 2 months before she died.
Let's break down what really went on in court and dive into the Kim Porter investigation. Kim Porter was a major part of Diddy's life for years. They even had children together. But ever since her sudden death in 2018, questions have been swirling, especially now with Diddy facing legal troubles. The official cause of her death was listed as lobar pneumonia, but not everyone is convinced. Her ex, Al B. Sure, has publicly questioned the circumstances, and now Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, is speaking out too. In a recent interview, Gene dropped some serious bombshells that have people—
You gotta realize, man, Kim's death wasn't even investigated, bro. Her death wasn't even investigated. And it should have been a proper investigation so all the family members can feel like that there was no foul play in her death.
He went on to reveal some deeply unsettling and suspicious details.
How is it that you know how we are as a people? I don't believe that 10% of your viewers that's watching this don't keep their phone when they go to sleep in arm reach. How is it that there was no electronic products or gadgets around Kim's bed? Her laptop missing, her cell phones missing.
Deal also questioned the investigation process.
How is it that, and this is hearsay, that the detectives did not even view the body in the bed where she died at? That the coroner had already removed her, pronounced her dead, and told the detectives that it was no foul play. And if that is true, as I've heard it, and we read certain things on the internet about it, that case needs to be reopened.
In the same interview, Deal pointed out another odd detail about Kim's condition leading up to her death.
We know that Kim, and it's in the this is in the documentation. Shout out the paperwork. At the paperwork part, I gotta shout him out, man, because he looked in the paperwork and it said Kim received a massage for about an hour when she's supposed to have full-blown pneumonia. Who gives somebody a massage when they got pneumonia?
As shocking as everything Deal had revealed so far was, he wasn't done. He still had more to expose.
Now, some people even said that her casket was ordered 2 months before she died. I don't believe that, man. I swear. I'm not no conspiracy theorist or none of that. But I heard, did you hear something like that, man? That her casket, how you order a gold casket 2 months before somebody died, man?
While Deal himself said he doesn't believe the specific rumor about a casket being ordered before Kim Porter's death, the fact that such speculation is even out there shows just how deep public suspicion runs. Now fast forward to May 12, 2025. Diddy's federal trial kicked off in Manhattan, and from day one the courtroom has been full of drama. The same man who built the Bad Boy Records empire is now staring down charges that could put him away for life: racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transporting individuals to engage in prostitution. The trial opened with jury selection and fiery opening statements that set the tone for a fierce legal showdown. Picture this: Diddy walking into court like he still owns the world, while prosecutors are ready to rip apart the image he's crafted for decades. Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson didn't mince words. She laid out the story of a man living a double life: the polished media mogul we all know versus the manipulative figure accused of controlling and exploiting women through his so-called enterprise. On the flip side, Diddy's lawyer Tenny Garagos tried to reframe the narrative. He acknowledged some disturbing truths, including confirming that the 2016 hotel surveillance footage of Diddy assaulting Cassie was real, but claimed it was an instance of domestic violence, not human trafficking. The defense painted the relationships as consensual, involving capable, strong adult women. But let's be real, that's like saying a lion and a gazelle had a mutual misunderstanding about dinner. It just doesn't hold up. And get this, while all this is going on, Diddy had the audacity to flash a heart sign at his family in the gallery, including his mother Janice Combs, mouthing, "Hi Mom, I love you," and even blew them a kiss. Seriously? Imagine. If R. Kelly had pulled that same stunt, the disconnect is unbelievable. Then came the witnesses. First up was Israel Flores, a former hotel security guard who responded to a call at the Intercontinental Hotel in LA back in March 2016. Flores testified that he saw Diddy with a chilling stare while Cassie had a purple eye and clearly wanted to leave. And then came the bombshell. Flores said Diddy offered him $100,000 in cash to stay quiet. That's like someone offering you a mansion to ignore a crime scene. Totally abnormal. The jury was also shown disturbing evidence, including cell phone footage taken by Flores and hotel surveillance, showing the aftermath: scattered flowers, soil smeared on the walls, a total mess. The defense tried to undermine Flores's credibility by pointing out that some details were missing from his original report, but he stood firm, saying those details weren't relevant to his job at the time. Next on the stand was Daniel Phillip, a male stripper and review manager who testified about. Daniel Phillip, a male stripper and review manager, testified about his encounters with Diddy and Cassie from 2012 to 2013 at the Gramercy Park Hotel in New York. His testimony revealed some disturbing details about the adult activities involving himself, Cassie, and Diddy. Phillip described how Diddy would direct these activities, use certain products, and sometimes record what was happening. He said he often saw Cassie looking unwell after consuming substances provided by Diddy. Even more troubling, Phillip witnessed Diddy dragging Cassie by her hair and heard slapping sounds. He admitted he feared for his life, but didn't report what he saw, especially after Diddy took a photo of his driver's license, which Phillip felt was a clear threat. Taking a picture of someone's ID is basically a silent way of saying, "I know where you live." That's pure intimidation. But it gets worse. On day 2, Cassie Ventura herself took the stand, bravely sharing a detailed and emotional account of her nearly 11-year relationship with Diddy. She described meeting him in 2006 when she was just 19 and signing with Bad Boy Records. Their relationship started professionally, with Diddy as a fun but controlling figure holding her career in his hands. Cassie recounted their first kiss at her 21st birthday in Las Vegas, feeling confused and pressured because of Diddy's control over her career. Her testimony became deeply emotional when she detailed the physical abuse, saying, "He would smash me in my head, knock me over, drag me, kick me, stomp on my head if I was down." Despite crying, she remained composed as she described the violence. Cassie also introduced the term freak-offs, drug-fueled parties starting when she was 22 that could last for days without sleep. She said she felt humiliated and used substances, like ecstasy, marijuana, and mushrooms, to dissociate, substances provided by Diddy or his staff. The jury watched surveillance footage from the 2016 Intercontinental Hotel incident multiple times during her testimony. After lunch on day 2, Cassie described the pattern of these freak-offs, how Diddy directed every detail, required specific people with certain physical traits to attend, checked if anyone was a cop, and coordinated travel across states. These parties happened in New York, Miami, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Ibiza, and Turks and Caicos. Cassie testified that Diddy recorded these events early on using video cameras and various devices. She deleted her copies and asked Diddy to delete his, though. His staff still had access. They used fake names for hotel bookings and other arrangements to stay under the radar. The prosecution presented texts from March 5, 2016, where Diddy demanded a freak-off just before Cassie's movie premiere. The testimonies carried on into day 3 with Cassie diving even deeper. Cassie detailed more abuse and her struggles with drug dependency. She described being beaten after a party, and a 2018 incident at her home that left her shaken. She also witnessed Diddy's violent acts toward others, including holding her friend, Brianna, over a balcony. The prosecution showed photos of Cassie's injuries: black eyes, a swollen lip, and bruises that supported her claims. She said Diddy threatened rapper Kid Cudi, whose car later exploded. Cassie admitted to heavy opioid use during their relationship, seeking help multiple times, and last using in 2022. She also settled a $20 million civil suit against Diddy in 2023. The jury saw evidence from a 2016 hotel assault, including photos of broken items and damage. Cassie broke down discussing rehab and suicidal thoughts. Her husband even left the courtroom during a tough moment. Afterward, the Combs family prayed outside the court. On day 4, the defense tried to show Cassie as a willing participant, sharing texts that showed mutual communication. Cassie also revealed jealousy toward Kim Porter, marking Porter's first mention in the trial. She said Diddy spent more time with Kim and his kids than with her, highlighting relationship strain. Reports say Diddy and Kim had a complex relationship with love, but also abuse allegations. Former Bad Boy rapper Mark Curry shared insights in a Rolling Stone interview, stating,
death remains lobar pneumonia, and while some people have raised questions and theories, there is currently no legal case against Diddy related to her passing. What is happening is that Diddy is currently on trial for racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution charges. These are serious charges that could potentially result in a life sentence if he's convicted, but they are not related to Kim Porter's death. So we've talked about Cassie's testimony, which honestly deserves a standing ovation for her bravery, but she's not the only one who's come forward with allegations against Diddy. The accusers speak. Puffy has racked up a concerning number of accusers over the years, and in that time, their stories have formed a pattern that's impossible to ignore. As of April 2025, Diddy is reportedly facing at least 63 civil lawsuits. 63! That ain't a coincidence, that's a collection. And these lawsuits include allegations spanning from the 1990s all the way to 2024. Let's break down some of the most significant ones, so y'all can understand the full scope of what we're dealing with here. First up, we have Joy Dickerson, who filed her lawsuit on November 23, 2023. Dickerson alleged that in 1991, when she was a college student, Combs drugged and violated her, and distributed a video of the incident as revenge porn. This lawsuit is still ongoing, with Combs' response due in April 2024. And of course, Diddy denied these claims, calling them a money grab and urging public skepticism. That's like a bank robber telling the judge, "Don't believe the security cameras, Your Honor. They're just in it for the clout." Then there's Rodney Lil Rod Jones Jr., who filed on February 2nd, 2024. Jones, a producer, alleged racketeering, drug distribution, boundary violation, and assault. He claimed Combs solicited minors, displayed firearms, and involved others, including Cuba Gooding Jr., in illicit activities. Some claims were dismissed, but boundary violation claims are proceeding. Diddy's legal team called Jones a con man, seeking an undeserved payday, asserting the claims are fabricated. I swear Diddy's got more excuses than a student who didn't do their homework. Another accuser is Grace O'Marcaigh, who filed on April 4th, 2024. O'Marcaigh alleged violation by Combs' son, Christian King Combs, on a yacht in 2022, with Combs held liable for fostering the environment. This one is still ongoing, and Combs' team called the claims lewd and meritless, accusing the plaintiff's attorney of seeking publicity. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, huh? Crystal McKinney filed on May 21st, 2024, claiming Combs drugged her and forced her to perform inappropriate acts at a Fashion Week event in 2003, later blackballing her in the modeling industry. Diddy's team hasn't provided a specific response to this one yet. April Lampros filed on May 23rd, 2024, alleging 4 inappropriate encounters between 1995 and 2000, including non-consensual filming. Again, no specific response from Diddy's team on this one. Now we get to Dawn Richard, who filed on September 10th, 2024. Richard, a former bad boy artist from Danity Kane, claimed she witnessed Combs attack Ventura and alleged he drugged underage girls at parties. Diddy expressed shock, calling the claims manufactured and timed to coincide with her album release. Yeah, right, because everyone knows the best way to promote your music is to get involved in a high-profile criminal case. Make it make sense. Thalia Graves filed on September 24th, 2024. Graves alleged that in 2001, Combs and his bodyguard tied her up and did bad things to her. This case is ongoing, with a summons requested to the Brooklyn Detention Center. Another Jane Doe filed on December 2nd, 2023, alleging inappropriate behavior and trafficking by Combs and Harve Pierre in 2003 when she was 17. This case is ongoing, with motions to dismiss pending. Combs denied the allegations, stating he did not do any of the awful things being alleged. There were multiple anonymous lawsuits filed in October 2024, with 6 anonymous plaintiffs alleging various incidents, including assaults at parties, an assault at Macy's, and threats related to a security job. 4 additional Doe's alleged assaults at events like a Rock party, VMA's after party, and a Las Vegas hotel. Some anonymity requests were granted, and one case was voluntarily dismissed in February 2025. Diddy stated he cannot address every meritless allegation in what has become a reckless media circus. The family issued a statement expressing devastation from the accusations. And finally, in February 2025, a contestant from Combs' reality show I Want to Work for Diddy alleged assault filed just before the deadline for New York's Gender-Motivated Violence Act. This case is still ongoing, and Combs' lawyers called the claims false and part of a rush of meritless claims. But beyond these civil lawsuits, Diddy is facing serious criminal charges that could put him away for life. On September 16, 2024, Combs was arrested by Homeland Security agents in Manhattan and charged with racketeering conspiracy, trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The indictment alleges that from 2008 to the present, Combs led a racketeering conspiracy involving trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. It also mentioned Diddy's freak-offs. Combs pleaded not guilty and was denied bail by 2 judges. He has been detained in a Brooklyn jail since his arrest. On March 14, 2025, a new indictment added accusations that Combs forced employees to work long hours and threatened to punish those who did not assist in his scheme. Combs pleaded not guilty before U.S. District Judge Aaron Subramanian in Manhattan Federal Court. Before his arrest, federal agents raided Combs' homes in Los Angeles, Miami, and New York on March 25, 2024, seizing electronics, including computers, believed to contain evidence related to the federal charges. These raids were a precursor to his arrest. If convicted on the racketeering charge, Combs could face life in prison. The trafficking and other charges also carry significant penalties. But let's not forget why we're all here today. Diddy's trial is ongoing, and his family has been showing up to support him. 6 of his 7 children attended the trial at the Federal District Courthouse in Lower Manhattan. They were accompanied by their grandmother, Janice Combs, 84. The family arrived together in a black van, entering the courthouse amidst onlookers, and occupied the front 2 rows of the courtroom, demonstrating their solidarity with Diddy during jury selection and the trial's opening statements. However, the trial's graphic content proved challenging. On May 12, 2025, during testimony from Daniel Phillip, who described alleged encounters involving Diddy, Chance, Delilah, and Jesse, left the courtroom twice due to the distressing nature of the details. Despite this, all 6 children and Janice remained to view the 2016 video of Diddy attacking Cassie Ventura, which was presented as evidence. The family's court appearance aligns with their public expressions of support. In December 2024, Diddy's 6 oldest children issued a joint statement saying, "The past month has devastated our family. Many have judged both him and us based on accusations, conspiracy theories, and false narratives. We stand united, supporting you every step of the way." Janice Combs has also defended her son, calling the allegations a public lynching. I mean, come on now. There's video evidence and dozens of accusers, but sure, let's call it a public lynching. The delusion is real. With all these allegations and the trial ongoing, we can't help but wonder about the potential outcome. The relationship patterns. Now let's dig deeper into Sean Diddy Combs' relationship patterns in history, because understanding this context helps us see just how long-standing these issues might be. When we look at his connections to women over the decades, some disturbing trends emerge. Let's start with his relationship timeline with Kim Porter. Their connection began in 1994 when Porter was a receptionist at Uptown Records, where Diddy was the founder. Porter, already a mother to Quincy Brown, born 1991, brought Diddy into her family dynamic, and he became a father figure to Quincy early on. On April 1st, 1998, Diddy and Porter welcomed their first child together, Christian Casey Combs. This milestone solidified their bond, though their relationship would soon face challenges. In 1999, Diddy and Porter broke up, marking the first significant pause in their relationship. By 2003, they reconciled, rekindling their romance. In 2005, Diddy formally adopted Quincy Brown, Porter's son, from her relationship with Al B. Sure. Now here's where things get messy. In July 2006, Diddy had a daughter, Chance Combs, with Sarah Chapman. This happened while Porter was pregnant with their twins. Despite this betrayal, Diddy and Porter welcomed twin daughters, Delilah Starr and Jesse James Combs, on December 21st, 2006. In 2007, Diddy and Porter ended their romantic relationship for the final time. Porter discussed the breakup in an Essence magazine interview, explaining that they had grown apart but remained committed to co-parenting. Porter also explained the dramatic nature of their breakup to Essence. "I wanted to be dramatic. I wanted him to know I wasn't breaking up with him for 2 weeks, or maybe leaving for 2 days. If I pack up everything, twins and all, it means I'm out. Puffy's an action person, not a talk person, so I had to have an action." This reveals the intensity and passion in their relationship, as well as her method of communication. Tom Bryant, the Mirror's head of showbiz, observed them in Paris in 2007, noting, "I'll never forget his partner Kim, who has since passed away, sitting by his side and seemingly unperturbed by the X-rated scene unfolding before her." This suggests Kim's tolerance of certain aspects of Diddy's behavior, reflecting the complexities of their dynamic. Despite their romantic split, they maintained a close relationship. In a 2017 Jet magazine interview, Diddy praised Porter's parenting skills, calling her one of his best friends. This public acknowledgement reflected their strong post-romantic bond, as they frequently appeared together at family events. Then, in October 2018, just before her death, Kim posted on Instagram, "Happy birthday at Diddy. On this day, a genius was born. May you continue to be the driving force of energy that God created you to be. Thank you for giving me the best gifts of life, our children." This shows her deep appreciation for Diddy and their shared children. Now let's examine the timeline of Diddy's relationship with Cassie Ventura, which overlapped with his connection to Kim Porter. This relationship, spanning over a decade, was both a high-profile romance and a source of serious allegations. In 2005, when Cassie Ventura was only 19, she signed with Bad Boy Records, and Diddy took her under his wing, producing her debut album in 2006. Their collaboration on tracks like Me and You marked the start of a professional professional relationship that soon turned personal. By 2007, after Diddy's split from Kim Porter, rumors linked him romantically with Cassie. She became the face of his Sean John clothing line, fueling speculation. They kept their relationship private until 2012, when they appeared together at high-profile events, including Kanye West's Paris Fashion Week show and the GQ Men of the Year party, confirming their status as a couple. The relationship faced public scrutiny, with engagement rumors in 2014 after Diddy posted a diamond ring photo on Instagram. His representatives consistently denied these claims. Breakup rumors emerged in 2015, and in August 2016, a significant incident occurred. An argument in Los Angeles led to Diddy taking Cassie's phone, prompting a police call and a domestic incident report. No charges were filed, but the event hinted at underlying tensions. In January 2018, Diddy expressed a desire to have more children with Cassie on The Breakfast Club. However, by October, their relationship ended, with Cassie's representative confirming they had been apart for months. Diddy was soon linked to model Jocelyn Chu. In 2019, Cassie married Alex Fine, and they welcomed 2 daughters. Diddy publicly congratulated them, suggesting an amicable post-breakup dynamic. But the facade of amiability crumbled when, on November 16, 2023, Cassie filed a lawsuit under New York's Adult Survivors Act, alleging Diddy subjected her to years ill treatment. In May 2024, CNN released a video from March 5, 2016, showing Diddy dragging, kicking, and throwing objects at Cassie in a hotel hallway. The footage supported Cassie's lawsuit claims. Diddy apologized on Instagram, admitting his behavior was inexcusable and stating he sought therapy. The Los Angeles DA could not charge him due to the statute of limitations. Now, if we examine Sean Diddy Combs' treatment of women across these relationships, we can identify some disturbing patterns that have been alleged by multiple accusers. Let's look at the specific types of behavior that have been consistently reported. First, there are allegations of physical abuse from at least 6 key accusers, with incidents reported from 1991 to 2018. Second, there are claims of controlling behavior and surveillance. Cassie testified that Diddy controlled all aspects of her life, from music to personal decisions. She described Diddy's control over her appearance, dictating clothing and nail styles. Porter described Combs' behavior as controlling and intrusive, recounting that during their separation, he would call her 50 to 60 times a day. Gene Deal supported these claims when he revealed that Diddy bugged every room with hidden cameras, ensuring comprehensive surveillance of all activities. Third, there are allegations of using substances to facilitate control. Cassie testified about being introduced to hard drugs by Diddy, which she used to dissociate during freak-offs. Daniel Phillips recounted seeing Cassie intoxicated on Molly provided by Diddy, appearing nauseous yet euphoric. Multiple accusers, including Joy Dickerson-Neal, Crystal McKinney, and an anonymous woman, claimed Diddy drugged them before assaulting them. Fourth, there are claims of coercion and blackmail. And finally, there are allegations of threats and intimidation. These patterns, alleged by multiple individuals over decades, paint a disturbing picture of potentially systemic abusive behavior. While Diddy has denied many of these allegations, the consistency of the claims, spanning different relationships and time periods, raises serious concerns about his treatment of women. It's important to also consider that these allegations exist within a broader context of power dynamics in the music industry. Diddy, as a powerful executive and producer, had significant influence over the careers of many of his accusers. This imbalance of power can create additional barriers for victims to speak out or seek help. When we look at Kim Porter's relationship with Diddy, we have to wonder if she too experienced similar behaviors. In the case of Kim Porter's death, while officially ruled as due to lobar pneumonia, Gene Deal and others have raised questions about circumstances like missing electronics around her bed and receiving a massage while seriously ill. It's important to note that there is currently no official evidence of foul play, but the questions persist, especially in light of the serious allegations against Diddy. So what does all this mean? Well, as Diddy's trial continues, we're likely to learn even more about his treatment of women and the extent of the alleged abuse. The testimony so far, especially from Cassie Ventura, has been compelling and disturbing. Cassie's bombshell testimony. The courtroom erupted when Cassie Ventura, pregnant and composed, took the stand to detail the horrors she allegedly endured at the hands of Sean Diddy Combs.
She says that, it was very well choreographed. Like, it was almost, when she was describing it, I was like, it sounds like he was shooting a music video.
Executive producing.
No, for real.
Y'all, these weren't just wild parties. These were methodical, organized events that Cassie described as being choreographed, like Diddy was directing a music video. This man treated these encounters like he was shooting a Bad Boy Records production, complete with specific lighting, scents, and props. Cassie broke down these freak-offs into 4 distinct steps, explaining the disturbing system that Diddy allegedly created.
So that first step was the descriptive foreplay, and then step 2 was the touching.
Step 1 was what she called descriptive foreplay, where she would have to verbally describe everything happening with the male escort. Diddy wanted to hear every detail, like he was listening to an X-rated audiobook.
Oh, she said that the first step was there was like and they would have to do math. It would be her and the escort, and she would have to talk out loud and describe what she was seeing.
Step 2 was the touching phase, and this is where all that baby oil would come out. When authorities raided Diddy's properties, they found over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. That's not a personal supply, that's a wholesale inventory. Man was running an entire slip and slide operation in his bedroom.
She said that they would oil up so much. That was like a big thing for Puff, allegedly. Like, you had to be oiled, that every 5 minutes they were like just re-oiling because
he wants you to look like a shiny suit.
Yeah, because it glistens, and I guess it's the sexiness of baby oil.
Step 3 was the oral activities, which Cassie admitted she would rush through just to get it over with because she didn't want to be doing any of this in the first place. She was just participating because she was so in love with Diddy and didn't want him to do these things with anyone else.
She just was doing it because she was so in love, and she said she didn't want him to go and do it with anybody else. Now, step 4 was the actual intercourse, where they would engage in, sex.
Step 4 was the actual intercourse, where sometimes Diddy would just watch, but other times he would join in if they were really comfortable with an escort. But wait, it gets even worse. Cassie testified that after these encounters, Diddy would make her take the male escort's finishing product and rub it on his chest and nipples. I'm trying to keep this family friendly, but what in the actual...
She said that a lot of times after they would finish, the escorts would have a happy ending, and Puff would make her take that happy ending and rub it on his nipple, and then they would engage in whatever they were going to do, just Cassie and Puff allegedly.
So his man milk on Puff's...
That's what Cassie's alleging, that she that Puff liked her to rub it on his chest and on his nipple.
They actually called it man milk. In the courtroom, this testimony had everyone gagging, including Diddy's family members who were present.
So chocolate-covered nipples with a semen drizzle.
Yo, shut up, man.
And glaze, we have to say glaze.
One of the most disturbing allegations involved a male escort who was allegedly made to urinate on Cassie during one of these encounters. When asked why she didn't just tell them to stop or move out of the way, Cassie explained, when they would get to a point where it was too much for her, sometimes he would tell the escorts, Puff would tell the escorts allegedly like, yo, all right, let's stop, let's chill. So they asked her like, why wouldn't you just tell them to stop yourself? And she said, I'm laying on the floor and allegedly intoxicated by all these things, and it's 2 men standing over me. What am I going to do? So I just laid there. Cassie painted a picture of complete powerlessness in these situations, often being under the influence of substances and feeling unable to resist. She was allegedly forced to participate in these activities even during her monthly cycle, which she didn't want to do but felt coerced.
And we've heard this story, but she said that, because we heard before that there were extra linens because
of dookie on the sheets.
So what she said was she was actually made to have freak-offs during her period, and so there would be blood on a lot of the sheets.
But why did Cassie keep participating if she hated these encounters so much? She explained that she was a very jealous girlfriend who was desperately in love with this powerful rich man with a 17-year age difference. She didn't want another woman taking her place, and Diddy had shared his secrets with her.
She felt vulnerable because he had shared this secret of these voyeurisms and freak-offs that he liked to do. She didn't want another woman coming in and swooping up in her place. And a lot of times she alleges, and we saw actual text messages they brought up where she tried to tell him she didn't want to do a freak-off.
The prosecutors even showed text messages where Cassie tried to tell Diddy she didn't want to do a freak-off, and his response was basically, you're boring, you're predictable. Classic manipulation tactic. Cassie felt pressured to comply, so he don't do it with somebody else. During Cassie's testimony, Diddy was visibly shaking in the courtroom, looking pale and significantly thinner than his usual self. His nervous state was apparent to everyone present. But you said, how did he look? They look stressed out. He's definitely a lot thinner. Face is very pale, a lot of gray hair, some black, but a lot of gray hair. You could tell he was nervous, and he said it in the courtroom, and he had asked to go to the bathroom. He was like, excuse me, Judge, I'm a little bit nervous, but you could tell at one point in time I saw, and I was watching him very closely, I saw like his hands shaking a bit, but very involved he's fighting for his life, literally. He came with a file like a case of paperwork. He was on the tablet sitting next to Brian Steele. He's reading every drawer. Profile as things are happening. This man is shook, and rightfully so. He's facing charges that could lock him up for the rest of his life. The male escort's contradicting testimony. Now here's where things get even crazier. Remember that male escort who allegedly participated in these freak-offs? Well, he took the stand, and what he had to say painted a very different picture. The escort was described as a black man, probably like 5'7", really stocky, like, muscle. He testified that Cassie called him every time they wanted to hook up, and that when he first met them, he was told it was for a bachelorette party.
He shows up in an NYPD t-shirt, and he says Cassie opens the door. She's in red lingerie, she's in a wig, dark glasses, and pumps.
According to the escort, Cassie told him, "My husband likes to do special things for me. He wanted to do this for my birthday." When he walked in, Diddy was allegedly sitting in the corner with a bandana tied around his face and a hat on. The escort testified that he and Cassie had intimate relations on the couch, while Diddy sat in the corner and pleasured himself. He claimed he recognized Diddy immediately by his voice when Diddy spoke.
He told him he worked in imports and exports. So when he said that, he said, I instantly caught the voice. And I'm like, well, how did you catch the voice? He said, I've been listening to this man, majority of my whole life.
Now here's the wild part. When prosecutors brought up the incident where the escort allegedly performed that explicit act on Cassie, the escort claimed it was Cassie who asked him to do it, not Diddy. Talk about a plot twist.
Exactly, because the prosecutors opened up that literally probably like 15 minutes before that. The prosecutors were like, Cassie is going to tell you that Diddy allegedly made this escort urinate on her. That there's an escort sitting in front of us sworn in on the stand saying, no, Cassie told me to do that.
This created a huge discrepancy in the case, potentially undermining Cassie's credibility. However, the escort did corroborate some aspects of abuse, claiming that he couldn't get hard anymore after seeing Diddy allegedly beat up Cassie badly at her house.
He said one time he couldn't get hard anymore because he went to Cassie's house. They got comfortable with him, came to Cassie's house. When he was there, Cassie and Diddy was in the room. He was outside in the living room. Diddy comes out and goes off on Cassie, like allegedly beats her up bad because she took a long time to come back in the room to him. And he said after he saw that was his first time seeing her get physically touched.
So while the escort's testimony contradicted Cassie's claim about who initiated certain activities, it still supported the narrative that Diddy was physically abusive towards her. The escort's testimony was still ongoing, with cross-examination set to continue. This all had a visible impact on everyone in the courtroom, including Diddy's family members who were present.
It was awkward for me to watch them have to listen to all of this. After he started, the male escort started getting into a lot of the and stuff, they got up and left.
Imagine sitting there while people describe your father's alleged sex parties in graphic detail. That's a therapy bill waiting to happen. The charges, defense strategy, and surveillance video. Let's break down exactly what Diddy is facing in this trial, because it is serious. Sean Diddy Combs' trial began with jury selection on May 5th, 2025, at the Daniel Patrick Moynihan Courthouse in Manhattan, with opening statements scheduled for May 12th. He's facing 5 counts. 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, could get life. 2 counts of sex trafficking, minimum 15 years each. 2 counts of transportation for prostitution, up to 10 years each. Diddy has pleaded not guilty to all charges, but the prosecution came in with receipts longer than a CVS receipt after you buy some chapstick. The prosecutors are painting a picture of Diddy as a man who couldn't control his anger, especially when it came to Cassie. They brought up an incident where Cassie supposedly got upset that Diddy was dealing with other women, so she decided to go deal with someone else. When Diddy found out, he allegedly grabbed his gun, took 2 staff members, one of whom did not want to go, and went looking for Cassie at this man's house. The prosecutors are calling that kidnapping.
She decided to go deal with somebody else, so she dipped. Puff was coming, he came, he's looking for her, can't find her. He grabs his gun. 2 of his staff members, one of the staff members said that she did not want to go, and allegedly she was forced to go, so they labeled that kidnapping. And they went to this man's house looking for Cassie in this rage. Cassie wasn't there, and it was like all hell broke loose.
What in the Tony Montana is that? Imagine if your ex pulled up to your new booze crib with a squad and a strap just because you moved on. That's not I'll be missing you, that's I'll be threatening you. Now, Diddy's defense team came in with an interesting strategy. They basically admitted to everything except the actual charges. They're saying, yeah, he was trash, but not criminal trash.
All they did was own up to everything. They're like, look, he was angry. He can't control his anger. He, might have abused drugs and been a horrible boyfriend. Y'all gonna hear text messages and audios that make him sound like a horrible person, and that he may have been. All of the most horrible things you could think about him when it comes to how he dealt with the women in his life. He's owning up to it.
Their whole argument is, if he was guilty of domestic violence, we wouldn't be arguing today. But since he's charged with sex trafficking and racketeering, they're fighting it. That's like saying, yeah, I stole the candy bar, but I didn't rob the whole store.
Like, if he was guilty of domestic violence, we wouldn't be arguing today. I mean, if he was charged with domestic violence, we wouldn't be arguing today. If he was charged with abuse in a certain way, we wouldn't be arguing today. But because he's charged with everything else, the sex trafficking and all these other things, we're here because he's not guilty of that.
The defense is trying to argue that just because something is immoral doesn't mean it's criminal. But I don't know if the jury is going to buy that when they're hearing all this disturbing testimony. A key piece of evidence in this case is the surveillance video from March 2016 that captured Diddy assaulting Cassie in a hotel hallway. This footage, which was released by CNN in May 2024, shows Diddy grabbing, shoving, and kicking Cassie. They brought in a witness who was working security at the Intercontinental Hotel when this incident happened. This man, Israel Flores, was now an LAPD officer, but back then, he was responding to a call about a woman in distress on the 6th floor. According to his testimony, when he arrived, he saw Cassie and Diddy arguing. Cassie kept saying, I want to leave, I want to leave, I want to leave. But Diddy was like, no, she's not going anywhere. The security guard had to step in and tell Diddy that if she wanted to leave, they would allow her to get her things and go. He also claimed that when he walked Cassie and Diddy back to their room, he saw a man in dark clothing sitting on the bed, which becomes important because of the conflicting narratives about what led to the hallway assault. Cassie's version is that she was trying to get away from one of those freak-off situations that she didn't want to be part of, and that's why Diddy assaulted her in the hallway. But Diddy's team claimed that's not what happened at all.
Now, Diddy's team is saying...
So that's why the video matters to the court.
Diddy's team is saying, no, because freak-offs weren't a thing. You guys were consensually engaging in sexual acts, but that's not even what happened here.
According to Diddy's team, they were arguing over something Cassie saw on Diddy's phone. They're saying it was just a very tumultuous, jealous relationship, not anything to do with forced sexual encounters. During cross-examination, Diddy's lawyer, Brian Steele, tried to discredit the security guard's testimony by pointing out inconsistencies. The security guard claimed Cassie had a purple eye when he first saw her, but that wasn't in his incident report from 2016. He also mentioned seeing a man inside their hotel room, but that wasn't in the report either.
So he instantly starts getting him. He's like, okay, so you mentioned something about Cassie having a purple eye when you got off of the elevator. Why wasn't that in your incident report? The man said, well, I didn't think that was significant to put in. Brian still said, so you thought it was significant today, but it wasn't significant 9 years ago? So then he says, you said that you saw a man inside of their hotel room. Why wasn't that in your incident report? Did you ask the man his name? Did you talk to him? And he was like, no, because the man didn't really say anything.
The defense also pointed out that the security guard recorded videos on his personal phone and sent them to his wife, laughing about how shiny his shoes were, not exactly taking the situation seriously. The defense suggested that the security guard might have been covering up for Diddy back then, but got a conscience now. Regardless of the security guard's credibility issues, that video of Diddy assaulting Cassie doesn't lie. It's important to understand that Cassie's lawsuit filed in November 2023 was a catalyst for all of this. That lawsuit was settled the next day, but it opened the floodgates for over 60 more lawsuits against Diddy. By April 2025, over 63 lawsuits had been filed against Diddy, with allegations spanning from 1991 to 2022. We're talking about over 100 alleged victims, including 25 minors and one as young as 9 years old. If that doesn't make your skin crawl, I don't know what will. Prosecutors allege that Diddy ran a criminal enterprise that involved sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. They claim he would force women into days-long sexual activities with male commercial sex workers using violence, intimidation, narcotics, financial control, and threats. The allegations about his white parties are particularly disturbing. These events, held from 1998 to 2009 in places like East Hampton and Beverly Hills, were once celebrated for their glamour and exclusivity. But behind the scenes, accusers claim these parties had a much darker purpose. For example, Adria English, a former employee, alleged in a July 2024 lawsuit that she was groomed into sex trafficking at these white parties, being coerced into sexual acts with guests after being given drug-laced alcohol. Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team is trying everything to discredit the witnesses and prosecutors. Mark Garagos, whose daughter is one of Diddy's lead attorneys, called the prosecutors a six-pack of white women on a podcast, implying there's racial bias in the prosecution. The judge was not happy about this and threatened to hold Garagos in contempt of court if it happened again.
Because he's inferring that because these are all white women on the jury, that based on race, white women are going to convict a black man because of the race component. That's what he's implying by he pointing to the fact that it's all white women who are going to prosecute Puff.
Diddy's legal team includes a formidable black woman attorney named Nicole Westmoreland, who's supposedly a beast at cross-examination. They're pulling out all the stops to defend him, but with the mountain of evidence piling up, it's looking rough for Mr. Combs. One thing's for sure, this trial has revealed the dark side of a man who was once one of the most powerful figures in the music industry. The once celebrated bad boy founder who became a billionaire by 2022 is now facing the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. The fall from grace has been swift and dramatic, with his honorary doctorate from Howard University revoked and New York City rescinding the key to the city that was awarded to him. As the trial continues, more shocking details are likely to emerge. With over 100 alleged victims waiting in the wings, this is just the beginning of what could be one of the most explosive celebrity trials in history. The prosecution seems to have a strong case, but Diddy's defense team is fighting tooth and nail to get him acquitted. Will justice be served? Or will Diddy somehow manage to escape these serious charges? Stay tuned for more updates on this developing story. If you love this video, click on the card showing on your screen for more videos like this.